Hi, I'm Josh, and as you can tell from my choice of garment, this was supposed to be a Halloween video, but life got dense with craziness and time got away from me, so this is for a different holiday called Spooky Hanukkah, which has always existed. It's not new, I didn't make it up. It's just like regular Hanukkah, except it's scary, and you don't have to be Jewish. Anyway, for either Halloween or Spooky Hanukkah, I love to consume scary media. And one piece of scary media that I love to consume is horror games. I recently played an amazing horror game called Signalis. Now, Signalis is a blend of like classic survival horror like Resident Evil or Silent Hill, and then also classic sci-fi like Ghost in the Shell or Aliens. It is a pretty violent game, so as long as you're both okay with violence and, due to that violence, not a child, I give it a really strong recommendation. But I thought that it would be interesting to try making our own music for it. Now, the music in the game is fantastic and suits the game perfectly, but I still thought it would be fun to explore, if we come at it from a different angle, how it would sound. For this project, we're going to be using the Matriarch that I've got right here. We'll give the Matriarch some reverb with this Flamma, I think it's the FS02 reverb pedal. We'll use the Chompi as well. And at the heart of our setup, we'll have the Deluge sequencing everything. If you enjoy the video as we're going, please consider leaving a like and subscribing if you haven't already. And we're just going to jump into it with patching the Matriarch. So the Matriarch is going to go through this reverb pedal, but I thought we would put together our patch first, and then we'll show how it's going to sound. So on the Matriarch, I'm wanting to get something that sounds almost like hollow or ghostly. And the way that we're going to start is we're going to have all of the oscillators playing together. So the Matriarch has 4 oscillators, and you can set it to a paraphonic mode. It's like semi-polyphonic. But if I flip this over to 1, they're all going to be combined into one sound. So right now it'll sound like this, which is a good place to start. Now we have the settings for the different oscillators over here, and I'm going to set, let's see, oscillator 1 to a saw wave, and I'm going to pitch it down low. I'm going to set oscillator 2. I'm going to leave it as a square wave, and I'm going to set it not quite as low. And then the other 2 oscillators, I'm going to set both to a saw and then a 25% pulse, respectively. So that gives us this sound. Next, we're going to go over to our envelope, and I'm going to add a little bit of release so that the sound rings out. I want to give it a kind of warbly and unsteady feeling. I'm going to come over to our modulation, and I'm going to set it to what's called a slewed random. The slew means that, so it's going to random settings, like random amounts, but instead of just jumping to that amount, it kind of gradually transitions to it. And I'm going to turn up the modulation and the pitch amount. Ooh, that's a lot. The 3 notes that I was playing are used in the game Signalis. There's parts where you access a numbers station, a radio station that's just broadcasting numbers. They also say Achtung, which I'm sorry for any Germans in the audience. My last name is German, but that's the only thing about me that is. I'm sure my pronunciation was horrible. But those 3 notes are quite iconic. They're played on the title screen. If you don't believe me, go back to earlier in the video when I show the title screen and you will hear them. And that's what the Matriarch is going to be playing. But anyway, let's now go to our filter section, and I'm going to set it to the high pass, low pass mode. So it'll have a high pass filter, then a low pass filter, and we're going to fiddle with the cutoff and resonance. Yeah, so that we've got something that's got this kind of hollow and haunted sound. Now, I'm also going to add in some noise. And I'm going to turn the oscillators up. So on the Matriarch, when you turn the oscillators past about noon, they start to distort, like they're going to clip their signal a little bit, and it's going to make it sound a little crunchier. Now we have 2 more ingredients to our sound. The reverb, of course, we're going to get to that. But the other one is going to be the delay on the Matriarch. So the Matriarch has a very lovely analog delay, which if I turn the mix knob up, so right now it sounds like this. When I let go of this, but I was still holding down the F, it re-triggered. But if I turn the mix up, now we've got this. So quite a lovely spacey sound. This is more or less where I want us to be. Our last ingredient, like I said, will be the reverb. I'm just gonna turn it on. I think it's in its ambient mode or cave. I don't remember the names of them. I just go by how it sounds. So there we go. Haunted synthesizer. Great setting for Signalis and or Spooky Hanukkah. And we are now gonna go over to my desk where we will work with the Deluge and the Chompi and get our sequencing and song setup done. See you there. So now it's time for us to work on the Deluge. I'm going to start by changing the key. I'll hold scale and tap here where the F is. So now our song is going to be in the key of F major or D minor. And just for clarity, I have on MIDI channel 1 is Chompi, and on MIDI channel 2 off that way is the Matriarch. What I'm picturing is going to be a song that's kind of two parts. One part is going to be in 4/4 time, and the second part will be in 5/4 time. For the part that's going to be in 4/4 time, we'll start there. I'm actually going to start by using not Matriarch or Chompi, but the Deluge itself. I have in here piano. I wanted to start first with a kind of slow piano loop. So let's see. I'm going to have D in the bass. And we'll have it go along D and A, F, and then another D, G, F. So it'll sound like this. I'm going to slow it down quite a bit though. I'm going to also extend that a little bit further, and we're going to add a little bit more. We'll do a B flat and another B flat, and I want it to go B flat and G, and then D, and actually, why don't we take that B flat and change it to C, A, A, G, and our whole thing will sound like this. And I'm going to also now filter some of that out and add some reverb. Makes it sound a little bit more moody. I'm going to go back to our song. I'm going to add another clip. And I'm going to go to Kit. Come on. And I think that what we'll use is the basic kit in the Deluge, like the basic default kit. I think it's 808 samples. And I want to be not too heavy-handed with drums, but I want to add something that feels kind of like a heartbeat. And I'm going to filter it a bit. And actually, and I'm also going to add a bit of reverb to that too. Now, I have a patch on here called Cassette Pad that I think will work pretty well as a bass. And we'll add it in. let's see. Boop, 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 boop. We have a D there, and then we will add in a G and C. Oop. And I'm going to trim off the last little bit of each of those so they don't run into each other too much. And I'm going to build a chord on top of it as well. In this case, I'm going to build I actually think it'll be interesting to put an F major chord on it, so we'll have a 7th in there. You know what? I take it back. It's a little too dense. But I'll have the high F in there and filter it down. Let's see. And then over in here, the B flat and the E. Now it is Chompi time. So the sound I have loaded into Chompi is, oh, here, I'll play it. Oh, can't go that high. It is a kalimba. It's very quiet. I'll try turning it up some. Now, before we add anything to the song, I'm going to do a little bit of sound design on Chompi. So Chompi has a few different effects. If I click this in, it goes to this yellow effect, which is like an overdrive. Or if I hold down the Chompi key and turn this, it adds like a tape warble, which I quite like the sound of. If I go here, there's a filter. I'm not going to use the filter right now. And then this kind of combo reverb and delay. And we'll use that just for like a quick kind of arpeggiated accent. I'm going to do it. Let's see. Up high, and I want it to be pretty quick, like 30-second notes. So I'm going to do so here. We go too high for it, so I'll go down. And we'll play a little boom, boom. And then the last one, we'll do a C. So that's one part, helpfully shown with these blue. Now I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to first make a new track, and this is going to be our Matriarch channel. On channel 2. Now, I mentioned that we're going to play the notes that are used in Signalis for the numbers station, and those notes are B flat, F, and A. Oops, sorry. So we'll play those 3 notes. I'm going to go back really quickly and mute our other tracks. And I'm also going to hold shift and tap here to make this one pink. So we'll have our 2 sections, our blue section, our pink section. To put this in 4/5, I'm going to have just one extra measure at the end. 3, 4, 5, 1. Like that. It'll make it sound a little bit off and disconcerting. Going back to song, I'm going to copy our piano channel, and this time, instead of having the piano notes be moving, we're just going to have a singular held out chord. So we will do 3 beats of a G minor chord. So we'll go down to here. And we'll go then from there into a B flat major for 2 beats, and to stretch it across the measures, I'll go like that. And then we will again do 3 beats of G minor, and finally 2 beats of D minor. So with all that, and I'm gonna move this one down so our pink channels are together. It should sound like this. Oh, forgot to unmute it. And we will also add our drum kit in, and it's going to be very similar to what we had before, except just 1 extra beat, so that it will be a 5-beat phrase. We'll also use the cassette pad sound. And this time we'll just put it in the bass. So we'll have three beats on G, and let's zoom out so that we can add 2 beats on B flat, 3 more beats on G, and 2 beats on D. And I keep forgetting to unmute these channels. All right, all together. I like how this sounds. I didn't want to make something that was too involved. You'll understand if you watch when I'm going to put it with some gameplay that I don't want it to be too obtrusive. It's supposed to be a little bit more subtle, but I am going to go into the song view and start assembling it. So I'll start with, I think, just the piano and the drum kit. And then I'll add in our cassette pad. And when I scroll through to play from where, starts right here, I click this in and hit play. And we will just add another phrase, but this time we'll let our Chompi join in. I'm actually going to turn it down a little bit. And now we will add, so to change the color of the part, I hold this down, I'll turn that. We'll add our little pink parts. And I'm going to zoom in to make sure that we line them up properly. It's a little bit tricky with the Deluge when you're using things that aren't your typical 4/4. So now it'll go from the blue section into the pink section. And then we'll have it go back into our blue section. Blue, 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 blue. Oh, that's not blue. What am I doing? Now I'd like to have at least one more element. I know that I said it shouldn't be too obtrusive to the game, but I'd like to have at least one more thing happening in this. So here's what I'm thinking we'll add. I'm going to go back to the song view, and I'm going to add on the pink section. Let's see. I'm going to try to get a nice bass sound. This other patch I made called Cassette Lead, I actually think will work perfectly. I'm going to filter out some of it, and it's going to kind of double what the cassette pad is doing in the pink section, but it's just going to play eighth notes. I'm going to have it be here. Oop. I forgot that I was in an eighth note view. So we'll have 3 beats on G, and then 2 beats on B flat, 3 more beats on G, and finally 2 beats on D. And to give them a little bit more definition, I'm going to go through and just trim out the second half of each of these eighth notes so they don't get too swampy in the bass. Lastly, to help make this a little bit more clear, I'm going to change the polyphony to monophonic. And that will have come in the second time that we do our pink section. I did not space them correctly. And with that, we've accomplished everything here that I wanted to work on. We are going to have a little outro, and then we'll hear the song. You caught me just in time as I was lighting the traditional lights on the spooky Hanukkah, Hanukkah. Since we're attempting to rescore an existing video game, I thought it would be fun to close out with some footage of gameplay and our new track playing instead of the regular music. Now, spooky Hanukkah season is no reason to make anyone feel uncomfortable, so the footage that we're going to play does feature firearm usage and some blood, violence, death. If you're not down for that, no judgment. Check the description. There'll be a link to an unlisted video where if you want to hear the song, it'll just be a recording of the actual gear itself and no gameplay, violence, or anything like that. Now, if you enjoyed the video and you haven't already, please consider leaving a like and hitting subscribe, and feel free to go to the comments and wish everyone a traditional ooky spooky Hanukkah, or is there another holiday that happens around this time of year? Alternatively, you can comment whatever you want within YouTube's terms of service. You are the shepherd of your own destiny. So yeah, we will go to the song and some gameplay. And again, thank you so much for hanging out. I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye.